Have you ever wondered what happens when lies come full circle? Lies are crafted with precision, often wielded like weapons to dismantle your life. For you, the one whose integrity and resilience make you a target, falsehoods are tools of sabotage. Yet there is an undeniable law in this universe: truth and karma. Lies, no matter how carefully constructed, cannot overpower the enduring weight of truth. They hold sway only temporarily, like a storm that eventually runs its course. When lies unravel, the energy they carried returns with unrelenting force to their creators, proving that no deceit can escape the justice embedded in the fabric of existence. Lies are rarely harmless. At their core, they are weapons forged with the intent to damage. Those who target you do so out of a desire to tarnish your reputation, erode your support systems, and shake your sense of purpose. These destructive intentions are not born in a vacuum. They arise from envy, insecurity, or a fear of being overshadowed by someone who embodies authenticity and strength. By your very existence, you represent what these liars cannot attain: truth. Every lie begins with a choice, the decision to deviate from reality in pursuit of an agenda. This is the first step into a self-made trap. Lies must be believable to achieve their purpose, so the liar carefully crafts a false narrative that aligns with their intended outcome. Yet, in doing so, they commit themselves to upholding and expanding this falsehood, locking themselves into a cycle of deception that becomes increasingly difficult to escape. A fascinating aspect of lies is how they require constant reinforcement. A single untruth rarely stands alone. It must be supported by others. This results in a web of deceit that grows more intricate over time. Liars find themselves perpetually spinning new threads to conceal inconsistencies, deepening the trap they've set for themselves. Moreover, lies create a reality for the liar as much as they attempt to reshape your perceptions. The act of repeating a falsehood conditions the mind to believe it, even when it contradicts observable truth. This self-deception becomes both a tool and a vulnerability, as liars lose the ability to distinguish their fabricated stories from reality. The trap tightens further because lies demand energy to maintain. The liar becomes preoccupied with sustaining the illusion, leaving little room for growth, creativity, or authentic relationships. This preoccupation drains their mental and emotional resources, creating a self-imposed prison of stress and anxiety. In contrast, you draw strength from truth and clarity. While you remain grounded in authenticity, those who spread lies about you are consumed by the weight of their falsehoods. They are perpetually unstable, forced to scramble as they attempt to maintain control of the narrative. A particularly ironic aspect of this trap is how liars often overestimate their ability to manipulate others. They assume their audience will remain convinced, failing to account for the resilience of truth and the human tendency to seek consistency. The very tools they wield to harm you, fabrication and persuasion, become their undoing as they overextend themselves and expose cracks in their facade. What lies fail to account for is the boomerang effect. Energy, once released, must return to its source. The negativity directed at you gathers momentum and rebounds, delivering the consequences of deception back to the liar. It is an inescapable truth that whatever harm is intended eventually manifests in the life of its originator. Ultimately, lies are not just traps for you, but for those who create them. They are prisons of the liar's own making, constraining their thoughts, actions, and relationships. The irony is stark. In seeking to destroy you, liars set themselves on a path to their own destruction. That's why you need to join the Obsidian Inner Order, the only place on the internet where you can unpack the cosmic truth that liars always self-destruct, without YouTube peeking over our shoulder. Connect with 400+ chosen ones who've mastered the art of flipping every betrayal into fuel for their ascension. Share battle stories, trade manifestation secrets, and, who knows, maybe even find your cosmic soulmate in chosen singles. Don't lie, you're curious. But fair warning, star chamber slots are disappearing faster than your enemy's confidence when karma comes knocking. Stop scrolling, start ascending. Let's watch the matrix crumble together. The link to the Obsidian inner order is in the description. The moment a lie is uttered, it begins to grow, taking on a life of its own. What starts as a single act of deceit quickly evolves into something far more complex and uncontrollable. Lies, unlike truth, require constant nurturing to survive. They gain momentum through repetition, feeding on the liar's need to uphold them. This process transforms the lie into an independent entity that begins to dictate the liar's actions and thoughts. One of the most unsettling aspects of lies is their tendency to manifest as an alternate reality for the liar. To convince others, the liar must first convince themselves. This creates a psychological split where the liar operates in two conflicting realities, the truth they know deep down and the falsehood they propagate. This duality is mentally exhausting and unsustainable. As lies accumulate, they begin to influence the liar's identity. The act of lying becomes habitual, reshaping their self-perception and values. They start to view manipulation as a necessary skill, prioritizing it over honesty and integrity. Over time, they become disconnected from their authentic selves, losing sight of who they were before the lies began. In the face of this, you remain steadfast. While liars trap themselves in cycles of deceit, you are free to move forward, unburdened by the weight of falsehoods. You are grounded in truth, and this gives you clarity even when surrounded by chaos. Drop a comment below saying, "I stand free," if you've broken the chains of falsehoods and are walking your path with unwavering clarity and truth. Maintaining a lie requires constant vigilance. The liar must be perpetually aware of who knows what, where inconsistencies might arise, and how to address questions or doubts. This mental juggling act creates a state of chronic stress and anxiety, leaving the liar in a constant state of paranoia. What makes lies particularly insidious is their ripple effect. A single lie often requires additional lies to cover gaps or inconsistencies, creating a cascading chain of falsehoods. Each new fabrication introduces more complexity, increasing the risk of exposure and amplifying the liar's stress. As lies expand, they begin to affect the liar's relationships. Trust, the foundation of any meaningful connection, is eroded as inconsistencies become apparent. The liar may not realize it immediately, but the people around them begin to sense something is off. This perception creates distance, isolating the liar even further. In contrast, your relationships thrive on trust. Those who know you recognize your authenticity and are drawn to your unwavering commitment to truth. Eventually, the liar becomes trapped in a reality of their own making. The lies they told to manipulate others become chains that bind them, restricting their freedom and leaving them with no clear path forward. They must either continue to build upon the falsehood or risk everything by coming clean. The ultimate irony is that lies, designed to control and manipulate, end up controlling the liar. They take on a life of their own, dictating behavior, shaping relationships, and ultimately leading to a loss of agency and peace of mind. Karma has an uncanny way of weaving justice into the fabric of life. For those who spread lies about you, the consequences often feel poetic in their precision. The process begins subtly as the liar's words and actions start to loop back, creating situations where they experience the very harm they intended for you. It is as though the universe conspires to make their falsehoods their lived reality. One way this plays out is through the liar's accusations being turned against them. For example, someone who defames you as dishonest may find themselves in situations where their own integrity is called into question. This isn't coincidence. It's the natural return of the energy they set into motion. The accusations they threw into the world begin to echo, and they are forced to face them. As the lies unravel, public exposure becomes inevitable. What once seemed like an airtight narrative begins to crack under scrutiny. Inconsistencies emerge, and people start piecing together the truth. This process is not instantaneous. It's a gradual awakening for those who were deceived. But once it starts, it becomes unstoppable, like a tide washing away the facade. The humiliation of being exposed is profound. Those who spread lies about you often rely on their ability to control narratives. But when the truth comes to light, they lose all semblance of control. The very public they sought to manipulate becomes their judge, and the embarrassment of their deceit is laid bare for all to see. This exposure extends beyond personal shame. It affects their relationships and standing in the community. Friends, colleagues, and associates begin to question everything they thought they knew about the liar. Trust erodes, and their reputation takes a permanent hit. The damage is often irreparable, as trust, once broken, is nearly impossible to restore. As their world crumbles, isolation sets in. The allies they once relied upon distance themselves, unwilling to associate with someone who has been exposed as deceitful. They find themselves alone, trapped in the aftermath of their actions. This isolation is both a consequence and a reflection of their inner state, a lonely existence shaped by their own dishonesty. Ultimately, karma's lesson is clear. No lie exists in a vacuum. Every falsehood carries consequences, and those who wield deceit as a weapon will inevitably be struck by its rebound. The unfolding of karma is a stark reminder that truth, while sometimes slower to emerge, is infinitely more powerful and enduring than any lie. Drop a comment below saying, "Truth always wins." If you believe in the power of karma to reveal and restore what lies could never hide. For you, witnessing this ripple effect can be both painful and enlightening. It shows you the extent of the liar's deception and how far-reaching its consequences are. The liar may try to repair the damage, but words are often not enough. Actions speak louder, and their past actions have already spoken volumes. Apologies may be met with skepticism, as those affected weigh the sincerity of their remorse against the depth of their deception. The ripple effect extends beyond personal relationships. In professional settings, the liar's credibility takes a hit, making it difficult for colleagues to trust them with important tasks or decisions. The workplace, a space that often relies on collaboration and mutual respect, becomes a minefield of strained interactions and lost opportunities. The loss of allies is another profound consequence. Allies are often the first to support the liar, believing their version of events. But as the truth emerges, these allies face a choice: continue supporting the liar and risk their own integrity, or step back and protect themselves. Most choose the latter, leaving the liar increasingly isolated. This isolation is compounded by the liar's inability to form new connections. Word spreads quickly, and reputations are hard to rebuild. Potential allies, friends, or partners may hesitate to engage with someone known for dishonesty, fearing they too might become collateral damage in the liar's web of deceit. Even within their family, the effects are felt. Relatives who were once sources of unconditional support may find it difficult to offer the same level of trust. Relationships become strained, family gatherings awkward, and the liar finds themselves alienated, even from those who should be their closest confidants. Ultimately, the ripple effect reveals the interconnectedness of human relationships. Lies, while often intended to harm you, inevitably affect many others, creating collateral damage that spreads far and wide. When lies reach their breaking point, the liar experiences a collapse that is both external and internal. The carefully constructed web of deceit begins to unravel, and with it, their ability to maintain control over the narrative. This unraveling is not a sudden event, but a cumulative process, as the weight of their falsehoods grows too heavy to sustain. The first signs of this collapse are often subtle. A small inconsistency is noticed, a forgotten detail resurfaces, or someone begins asking pointed questions. These cracks in the facade are like leaks in a dam, insignificant at first but impossible to ignore as they grow. The liar finds themselves scrambling to patch these gaps, but their efforts often backfire, drawing more attention to their inconsistencies. As the truth emerges, the liar's sense of control evaporates. Their narrative, once believed by many, falls apart under scrutiny. People begin to connect the dots, and the liar's attempts to shift blame or deny responsibility only serve to highlight their guilt. What was once a position of power, being the architect of a false reality, becomes a trap, as they are now seen as untrustworthy and manipulative. For you, witnessing this collapse can be both validating and cathartic. It confirms what you knew all along. The truth cannot be silenced indefinitely. This collapse is not just public but deeply personal. Emotionally, the liar faces the crushing weight of exposure. Shame, guilt, and regret take hold, creating a storm of negative emotions that are difficult to process. They may attempt to rationalize their actions, but the reality of their deceit is inescapable. The lies they told to harm you have now turned inward, attacking their own sense of self-worth. The loss of relationships compounds this emotional turmoil. Friends, family, and colleagues begin to distance themselves, either out of anger at being deceived or fear of being associated with someone so clearly discredited. The liar, once surrounded by allies, finds themselves increasingly isolated, left to face the consequences of their actions alone. Financial or professional repercussions often follow. If the lies were told in a work setting or to gain some advantage, the fallout can be severe. They may lose their job, be passed over for promotions, or find themselves excluded from opportunities that once seemed within reach. Their credibility is permanently damaged, making it difficult to rebuild their professional life. Spiritually, the liar experiences a breakdown that can feel like a reckoning. They are forced to confront the gap between the person they pretended to be and the person they truly are. This confrontation is deeply unsettling, as it lays bare their fears, insecurities, and failures. The spiritual toll is heavy, often leaving them feeling disconnected from themselves and others. The crumbling effect also impacts the liar's physical well-being. The stress of exposure, combined with the emotional weight of their actions, can manifest as physical symptoms, insomnia, headaches, and even chronic health issues. The body, like the mind, bears the burden of deceit, and it cannot escape the toll. Perhaps the most poignant aspect of this collapse is the opportunity it presents. While the crumbling effect is devastating, it also marks a turning point. The liar is faced with a choice: to acknowledge their actions and seek redemption, or to continue down the path of deceit and denial. This moment of reckoning is a chance to break free from the cycle of lies, but it requires humility, courage, and an honest desire to change. For you, this serves as a powerful reminder of the strength in authenticity and the futility of deceit. Once a liar's world has collapsed, they are left standing at a crossroads. The path forward offers two distinct choices: redemption or ruin. Redemption requires courage, humility, and a willingness to confront the harm they have caused. Ruin, on the other hand, comes from denial, avoidance, and a refusal to take responsibility for their actions. The first step toward redemption is acknowledgement. The liar must face the reality of their actions without excuse or justification. This means admitting to the lies they told, the harm they caused, and the motivations behind their deceit. This process is painful but necessary, as it lays the foundation for genuine change. Seeking forgiveness is another critical step. They must approach you and others they wronged with sincerity, asking for understanding and offering to make amends. This requires vulnerability, as there is no guarantee of forgiveness. However, the act of asking is itself a step toward healing, both for them and for you. Redemption also involves a commitment to change. They must examine the patterns and beliefs that led them to lie in the first place, identifying the root causes of their behavior. Whether it stems from insecurity, fear, or a desire for control, these underlying issues must be addressed to prevent future deceit. For you, witnessing this process can provide closure. Seeing someone take responsibility and strive to make amends reinforces your belief in the power of truth and accountability. This path is not easy. It requires sustained effort and a willingness to face uncomfortable truths about oneself. The liar must rebuild trust, which is a slow and deliberate process. They must demonstrate through consistent actions that they have changed and are committed to living with integrity. For those who choose not to take this path, the alternative is ruin. This path is marked by continued denial and avoidance as they refuse to accept responsibility for their actions. They may double down on their deceit, attempting to construct new lies to cover the old ones. However, this only deepens their isolation and compounds their suffering. The refusal to change carries escalating consequences. Karma, like a patient teacher, continues to deliver lessons until they are learned. For those who persist in deceit, this means facing harsher and harsher repercussions as their actions compound over time. Relationships deteriorate further, opportunities become scarcer, and the weight of their lies grows heavier. Redemption or ruin is ultimately their choice. The universe does not demand perfection, but it does demand accountability. For you, this serves as a testament to the enduring strength of truth and the unrelenting justice of karma. Being the target of lies and deceit is a crucible that tests your character and fortitude. Yet what begins as a harrowing experience ultimately becomes a source of strength, wisdom, and transformation. You emerge from this trial not as a victim, but as a resilient individual, fortified by the lessons you have learned and the truths you have upheld. The first gift you gain is clarity. Lies, when exposed, reveal the motivations and true character of those around you. This revelation strips away illusions, allowing you to see who is genuinely supportive and who sought to undermine you. This newfound clarity serves as a compass, guiding you toward relationships and opportunities that align with your authenticity. Another powerful outcome is the development of emotional resilience. Enduring the attacks of falsehoods requires immense inner strength. You learn to remain steadfast in the face of adversity, refusing to let the lies define your worth. This resilience becomes a permanent part of your character, enabling you to face future challenges with unwavering confidence. You also experience a profound sense of liberation. Truth, by its nature, is freeing, while lies are burdensome. By standing in your truth, you release yourself from the weight of proving your innocence or retaliating against your detractors. You recognize that the truth will always prevail, and this recognition brings you peace. Witnessing the collapse of your detractors provides you with a deep understanding of the law of karma. You see firsthand how the universe balances itself, ensuring that deceit carries consequences and that integrity is rewarded. This understanding reinforces your faith in justice, both cosmic and earthly, and gives you a sense of assurance that no lie can ultimately triumph over truth. Perhaps the most significant transformation lies in your spiritual growth. Being targeted by lies forces you to reflect deeply on your values, beliefs, and purpose. You gain a heightened awareness of your inner strength and your connection to a higher power. This spiritual awakening often leads to a renewed sense of purpose and a deeper appreciation for the path you are on. Another key gain is the cultivation of empathy and compassion. Having endured the pain of being falsely accused or maligned, you develop a greater sensitivity to the struggles of others. This compassion becomes a guiding principle in your interactions, enabling you to support and uplift those who are facing similar challenges. Finally, you gain an unshakable sense of self-worth. You recognize that your value does not depend on the opinions or actions of others, but is intrinsic to who you are. This realization empowers you to live boldly, unafraid of criticism or falsehood, and confident in your ability to overcome any challenge. Truth is your greatest shield, an unassailable force that no lie can overshadow. Lies may cause temporary harm, but their power is fleeting, destined to collapse under the weight of their own falsehood. You are divinely protected, and the justice of karma will always prevail. Hold fast to your integrity, knowing that every challenge you face only strengthens your resolve and amplifies your light. Let the downfall of deceit remind you of the enduring power of authenticity, and move forward with confidence, unshaken by the storms of life.